In the 16th century, the beauty standard for English women under Queen Elizabeth I was unnaturally pale, flawless skin, a symbol of nobility, elegance, and perfection. Queen Elizabeth was not only a powerful ruler, but also a beauty icon of her era. She was famously known for her porcelain white complexion, achieved through a popular cosmetic of the time, Venetian ceruse, a mixture made from white lead and vinegar. This cream was carefully applied to her face and neck, covering all blemishes, especially the deep scars left behind by smallpox. The result was a strikingly bright white skin tone, so pale it almost glowed, the ideal beauty standard of that period, even though the actual smell of the product reportedly resembled sour wine. But that wasn't all. Elizabeth also used lipstick made from cinnabar, a mineral containing toxic mercury, which gave her lips their deep crimson hue. These two dangerous substances, lead and mercury, were applied to her skin regularly for years, without her knowing the consequences. It wasn't until centuries later, through the lens of modern science, that people understood the long-term health risks of heavy metal exposure like this. What had once been considered a sign of aristocratic beauty was later revealed to be a silent poison. The pursuit of a flawless appearance, though admirable by the standards of her time, may have slowly led to physical deterioration and possibly even her death. In hindsight, the royal image of perfection came at a devastating personal cost, turning the quest for beauty into an invisible threat that even the most powerful woman in England could not escape. Queen Elizabeth I's cosmetics not only helped her maintain a perfect appearance, but also became the silent force that slowly destroyed her body over the course of decades. The two main ingredients she regularly used were white lead and mercury, highly toxic substances whose full dangers were not yet understood at the time. The lead found in Venetian ceruse gradually corroded the skin on her face, forcing Elizabeth to apply increasingly thicker layers of makeup to cover the damage. Eventually, it was reported that she wore face powder up to an inch thick, about 2.5 centimeters. This was more than just an attempt to hide scars, it became a vicious cycle. The toxic makeup worsened her skin, which led to heavier makeup use, which in turn made her condition even worse. But it wasn't just lead. The mercury found in her lipstick and makeup remover also contributed to Elizabeth's physical decline. Unlike today's skincare routines, this hazardous makeup was often left on her face for an entire week. When it was finally removed, she may have used a harsh mixture containing eggshells, alum, and mercury, a formula believed to make the skin softer, though in reality, it was peeling off her skin layer by layer. The symptoms Elizabeth exhibited in her later years, memory loss, disorientation, irritability, and depression, all align closely with signs of mercury poisoning. No one at the time realized that her elaborate beauty regimen was a slow-acting poison, seeping into her bloodstream and quietly breaking down her body from within. The price of Elizabethan beauty standards wasn't just physical pain, it was mental deterioration, and possibly the death of one of England's most legendary queens. Her story stands as a stark reminder that beauty does not always equal safety, and that the pursuit of perfection can come at a devastating cost. As one of the very few women to ever rule England, Queen Elizabeth I lived under the constant scrutiny of both the royal court and the public. In a male-dominated society full of rigid expectations, she understood that even a small blemish on her face could be seen as a sign of weakness or unworthiness to hold the crown. This placed enormous pressure on Elizabeth to maintain a flawless public image, especially when it came to her appearance. After being left with permanent scars from smallpox, she became increasingly reliant on lead-based cosmetics to hide the marks of aging and illness. In a speech to Parliament in 1586, she openly acknowledged the weight of public expectations, saying, "We princes are set on stages in the sight and view of all the world. A spot is soon spied in our garments, a blemish noted quickly in our doings." Her words revealed how deeply aware she was of the burden she carried as a female monarch. To protect her image, Elizabeth banned artists from painting unflattering portraits. Instead, they were required to idealize her face based on earlier models, such as the famous Darnley portrait. This allowed Elizabeth to preserve her visual brand, eternally pale, youthful, and commanding even as she aged and her skin deteriorated beneath layers of toxic cosmetics. She also began wearing wigs to cover the majority of her hair loss, caused by lead poisoning. Though she never officially admitted it, the secret was exposed in 1599, when the Earl of Essex was reportedly shocked to see the Queen's scalp nearly bald, with only a thin ring of hair remaining around her ears. For Elizabeth, maintaining her image was not just a personal concern, but a political duty, a kind of invisible armor she used to defend herself against societal prejudice and to secure her position on the throne for more than 40 years. In the final months of her life, Queen Elizabeth's health deteriorated significantly. She fell into a state of deep melancholy and fatigue, refusing to rest and denying her doctors the chance to examine her. According to records from the royal court, Elizabeth believed that if she laid down, she would never rise again. For that reason, even in her weakened condition, she remained standing for up to 15 hours each day, only sitting when she collapsed onto the cushions that her ladies-in-waiting had arranged around her in anticipation. On March 24, 1603, Elizabeth passed away. The exact cause of death was never officially confirmed. Pneumonia or cancer are possible explanations, but many historians believe that her long-term use of lead and mercury-based cosmetics played a critical role in her physical decline. Her nervous system, skin, and internal organs could have been gradually damaged by years of exposure to these heavy metals. After her death, a disturbing rumor circulated. Elizabeth's body allegedly exploded inside her coffin during her wake. This chilling detail was recorded by Elizabeth Southwell, one of her ladies-in-waiting. While some dismissed it as anti-royal propaganda, the phenomenon known as exploding casket syndrome is scientifically possible. It can occur when a body decomposes in a sealed environment, building up pressure from gases and fluids until the casket bursts. Notably, just a week before her death, Elizabeth's doctors had advised surgically removing the coronation ring she had worn for 45 years. The ring had begun to cut into her poisoned skin, potentially causing a severe blood infection, which may have been the immediate cause of her death. The story of Elizabeth I is more than just a royal tragedy. It serves as a haunting reminder of the price of beauty, power, and isolation at the highest levels of history. A powerful woman brought down not by enemies, but by the very image she worked so hard to preserve. The story of Queen Elizabeth I's death is not merely a personal tragedy, also offers a powerful reflection on the value of beauty and the price paid to maintain an ideal appearance. For centuries, people used lead and mercury, two extremely toxic substances, as cosmetics, unaware that they were essentially applying a slow-acting poison to their skin. Elizabeth I was not the first to use Venetian ceruse, a lead-based whitening paste. In fact, this cosmetic had been used by women in ancient Greece, Rome, and across Europe since the 5th century BC. At the time Elizabeth lived, lead had not yet been officially classified as poisonous. It wasn't until 1634, nearly 40 years after her death, that the first warnings about its dangers were issued. Even though people back then observed side effects like hair loss and skin damage from makeup use, they still believed in the ideal of porcelain white beauty, even at the cost of their health. Elizabeth's story also exposes a truth that remains all too familiar today. Beauty often comes with pain and even sacrifice. Despite advancements in science and technology, modern society still places enormous pressure on individuals, especially women, to meet unrealistic beauty standards. Many still turn to risky cosmetic procedures to maintain a youthful or flawless look. Although today's methods may seem more refined, the obsession with appearance can still lead us to repeat the mistakes of the past, just in different forms. From Queen Elizabeth I's experience, we are reminded that beauty should not be something that hides pain or damage. Instead, it should stem from self-awareness, self-care, and respect for our own bodies. The unrealistic beauty standards that once brought down a powerful queen could easily do the same again unless we learn to recognize and break free from them. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe.